everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is a very exciting but also weird video to film. You probably guessed what it is with the title of this video, and if you follow me on Instagram you will have known for a couple of weeks now, but I'm so happy to say that I am pregnant. I am 4 months on Sunday, so Sunday I think it's the 21st, but it's Father's Day anyway, so I'm not sure when I'm putting this video up whether I can get it up before the Sunday or if it'll be after, but anyway, you get the gist. I'm around 4 months pregnant. We first found out right at the start of lockdown in March. I can't remember the date now because all the dates kind of like blur into one. Like, how are we almost halfway through? Well, we are halfway through the year. So I thought I'd give you a little update. I'm only going to go through how we found out and the first trimester, because I love watching these videos on YouTube. They're always one of my favourite ones. For many years I've loved watching them and seeing like the progress throughout the whole pregnancy, even if I wasn't pregnant or had a kid myself. I don't know why, I just love to watch them. But it was also interesting because I always thought that I'd know if I was pregnant, and the symptoms that I would get would all line up saying, yeah, you're definitely pregnant, you definitely know. And from all the videos that I've watched, like, there's certain bits that I felt that have never been explained in any of them, and I don't know whether that's because people obviously haven't experienced them or they've just not spoke about them. But obviously I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. Not everyone else has these signs and symptoms, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone's completely different. It took me by surprise. So obviously I want to share like my journey, and hopefully you will enjoy this. So as I said, I am 4 months pregnant. We found out I think 2 weeks into lockdown. It was on a Saturday, I do know that, and I was feeling really rubbish, and I just put it down to the fact that it was my endometriosis flare up, and I was due on around those few days. It should have been like the Wednesday, but sometimes, like, because I'd started a few days earlier the month before, I just thought it was my cycle getting back on track. So I thought, oh, a couple of days late. Like, never did I think that I would have been pregnant. I always thought that I would have the feeling and I would know, because some people was like, yeah, I just knew I was, so I just took the test and I was, but I didn't know. I just thought I was feeling a bit rubbish because I was due on. I was a bit sleepy that afternoon, so I had a little nap because I just was feeling a bit off. And then it got to about 6ish, 7ish, I decided to do a test, but for some reason I don't think I peed on it enough, and it just didn't work. It didn't give me any reading. It just said error in the bottom corner, and I was like, this packet of tests cost me like 10 quid. I've now got to go out and buy another test. So bless Martin went up to the corner shop near us. Obviously I had to queue outside because he was following the protocol of being in lockdown, and he picked up another test. It was very fun. It was like a little fold out one, so yeah. So we got one of them and I did the test, and then you leave it for like, is it 3 minutes? I don't know, but I turned it over because I just couldn't face looking at it, and I was like, I'm just gonna get a bath because I don't know what to do with myself and I'm in pain, and the paracetamol's not taking it off. So we both sat there, and then when it was time to look at the test, I was too nervous. We'd put an alarm on my phone and it gone off, and I was like, I can't look at it. So Martin looked at it and he didn't give anything away. He was just like, he knows how to read one, but he wanted me to see it and be able to get the answer from the test rather than from his facial expression. So he literally just like flipped it around, and I saw it, and they were the strongest lines you have ever seen. You always watch them in films and they're always like a really faint line, and mine was so strong, and I didn't know what to do. I just burst out crying whilst my bath was still running. So I was like, what do we do now? So we had a little hug and a little cry, and it was like, I can't believe that this moment has finally happened. So I rang my sister because she's a midwife, and I was like, what do we do now? So she gave us an idea of like the possible dates, and it's a December baby. I'm not going to give any dates away, but the day that she gave us, it's now moved up earlier in the month, which is good. It's further away from Christmas. So there's literally nothing you can do for a good few weeks. You don't need to ring the doctor. I mean, each doctor might be different, but ours, they don't need to see you until like your 6, 7 weeks, and by that point we'd worked out that I was only 4 weeks, so I was a month gone, which was crazy. And then that was it. We just couldn't do anything. And then it got to the week where I could finally ring up for my appointment, and you just ring your ordinary doctors, and I didn't know what the process would be with us being in lockdown and this pandemic going on, but they were really lovely, and they said that they would book me an appointment, but it would be a phone appointment. They want to stop as many people going into the surgeries as possible. And now that I am pregnant, it means that I fall under the vulnerable category, so I can't really venture out into really busy places. So I think I only ventured out to the supermarket for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and we're now in June, so I've not been in one since before lockdown had happened, so it was really weird. So I'd had the phone appointment, and it lasted about an hour and a half, and they just go through the typical things of like your health history, your partner's health history, and then what I didn't realise, and what nothing really gets explained in the videos that I have seen, is that when you speak to the doctors, they actually ask about the history of any siblings who have got children, parents on both sides, like both the mums, if they've got a history, if your aunties have got a history of certain things like preeclampsia or high blood pressure, or if you've got underlying health issues that may cause a little bit of a problem. So fortunately enough, they put me down as a low risk pregnancy, which was really promising to hear. And they just said they needed to obviously take my blood pressure, they needed to take blood tests, and they needed to give me loads of different forms in the book that they get. So they actually booked me in for blood test for the next day at the doctor's, and it was really well sorted. I had to go in on my own, so I didn't have Martin's hand to squeeze when I had the blood test, and I hate having blood tests done. And they were really nice. They take a sample of your urine to obviously test it, to see if you've got is it gestational diabetes or something that you can pick up as your pregnancy goes along. But all that came back fine, and then I had blood tests. I think they did 5 different blood samples they took from me, which really, as soon as they've put the needle in and they start taking the blood, it's not actually as bad as the fear that you build up in your head. But they were really nice. They took they did my height, they did my weight, they could work out calculate my BMI, and everything was all perfectly fine. So literally that was it, and I got a number that I had to ring in a couple of days time to book in for my 12-week scan. Now, the downside of all of this was that Martin wasn't able to go to my scan with me. They did tell me in my first phone call with the midwife, she said that he might be able to go to my 20-week, but my 12-week, unfortunately, he won't be allowed to go with you, which is a huge shame. And I know there's a lot of families out there that are going through the first time pregnancies, and there's families out there that maybe go having their 4th or 5th, and the dads or partners are not allowed to go to their scans, which is really, really sad. And it was disappointing, and that emotion had been, in that moment, had been taken away from us. But we've got to see ourselves fortunate that we're healthy, we're trying to ensure that we're not passing anything on to anyone else around us. Martin's family rang us and said that they'd booked us in for a private scan, and it's one that you have done at 8 weeks, so it was only 2 days away, and they'd found a clinic somewhere in Leeds that allowed you to have one person with you to go to see it. So it meant that obviously Martin could go to my first ever scan and see the baby up on the screen. So we were very lucky that we were able to see everything was healthy at 8 weeks. So the baby was teeny tiny. It was like literally that big in the little scan photo. So we went there, it was really lovely, and then she moved my dates early, did the lady, but she said obviously all of that could change at your 3-month scan. Obviously a lot of weeks had gone by. I told my work before I had the scan, and then I went and had the scan done, and then the baby was being really awkward and moving around that much. She was struggling to get the measurements, so obviously you still need a wait, and then she was really pressing on with like the scan machine, like really like in the same spot, and it was so uncomfortable. And then afterwards, like when she'd done it, she tested it, and they moved it forward another, they moved it, my due date earlier another day. So the baby's due even earlier than what we originally had been informed. So obviously they do the whole scan, they do measurements so they can start it off, so they know what they're looking for when you're going through your journey. And then you then get the option whether you want to do the test for Edwards and Down syndrome. So I said yes to do that. Didn't realise it was another blood test, so I had to have one of them done on my own again. But I've got to get used to it because I think I have more blood tests to come in the future. I'm not too sure. So yeah, so that's everything. In terms of pains that I've been getting, it's more in my second trimester, so I'll go into that in more detail in my next video update. But it was more period pain that I had, and it was really low down and just cramping. I didn't really get a bump until, or like a sign of a bump until after my scan, I'd say. So you kind of like, you're more bloated, like my hips widened within the first trimester. My stomach felt bigger, but it felt a lot more bloated. So it looked bigger, but that was just pure bloatiness and the water in you, and obviously everything's changing. So yeah, I didn't really see any difference in the size of my stomach. You look at it and you're like, oh my god, there's something there, and then you're like, actually no, I'm just really bloated. But I couldn't fit into jeans from like the second month. I couldn't, because I wear like high-waisted skinny jeans, and I couldn't fit into them or any of my trousers because obviously like my hips got bigger, but I was a lot more bloated as well. And I've also put on weight from obviously the types of food that I'm eating. So I completely went off lamb straight away. I think we had it on the Easter Sunday, and I just said to mine, I was like, I can't physically eat any more of this. Like I can't even look at it. Like it's not for me anymore. So he stopped buying that in, because if I smell it, I'm just like, it doesn't make me feel sick, but I'm just like, I can't deal with that. I think we only eat meat and veg like once a week, where we used to eat it 3 times a week. I eat more like, we used to have pasta quite a bit as well with chilli, homemade chilli, so it was quite fairly healthy, but we don't eat that a lot. I eat a lot of pizza, I eat a lot of like your chicken nuggets and chips. I've had lasagna quite a few times, like homemade lasagna, so it's more of a healthy one. I've not necessarily had any cravings as such, but if I see someone talking about a certain food, or I hear about a certain food, or I see a picture of it, or I see it on TV, and I instantly think like, oh my god, that looks amazing, I have to have that within the next few days. I think the only craving I could potentially have had is Subway sandwiches. One weekend I had 2 sandwiches in the weekend, and it was the foot-long ones, and then the crisps with the drink. That was a good weekend, was that. Yeah, I really like that. In terms of other known symptoms, the first thing I got was horrendously sore boobs. And I hope no one from work's watching this, but oh my god, they still are now. But within the first trimester, that was one of the first symptoms I'd got, and they got so much bigger and they were so painful. And obviously, if you didn't know, we've got 2 pugs, so they're quite small, so they kind of like jump up on the settee and come on our knee, and if we're laying down they kind of like walk all over you to get into their comfy position, and the minute they knock me in that area, I'm just like, I have to take a big deep breath in because it was so painful. That type of pain's gone away now, but they're still a little bit tender. But yeah, and then sickness wise, touch wood, I've been okay. I felt really queasy. I think it's only been a couple of times where I felt really sick, like I could have been sick but I haven't. But I have felt it's all in like the lower part of my stomach. It mainly came on either first thing in the morning until I'd been able to do a wee, and then I'd had my breakfast, and then I'd been fine, and then it mainly came on a night time when I went to bed, and I was so uncomfortable in bed because when you first find out, you read all these things where you can't sleep in that type of position and you can't sleep in this, so I was kind of a bit like, well, they're all the positions I sleep in, so that was playing on in my mind. I was going up like 5 times a night to go for a wee. That is the most annoying symptom I have had. I can take the sore boobs any day, but to wake me up in my sleep to need the toilet, to have to go 5 times, that's where I draw the line. It's so annoying, and I'm still going up in the middle of the night now. Not as bad as I was within the first trimester, but I would have been up at least 3 times a night, and it could go. But other than that, that is well, everything that I can really say about my first trimester. I've been very fortunate. I've not had the worst period. I've been very lucky. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. And then that's my first trimester. I've been rambling on, so I don't know how long it's going to take me to edit down, but there's so much that I wanted to say. But yeah, I don't really have a bump as such, but I'll show you a little bit of what I do have. And then I'll definitely be filming more updates. I'll just do a second trimester and then a third trimester video. I'm sure there'll be plenty of hauls coming up of maternity fashion. That's just a whole video in itself. I'm wanting to try and do styling videos, and then obviously little hauls with baby clothes because they're just so cute. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to me if you want to see what's in store for my journey leading up to December, and I'll see you all very soon with another video. Bye! So this is an angle you haven't seen of my house yet, but I've got loads of washing on the floor down there that I don't want you to see. So yeah, I'm just against this boring wall. But yeah, as I said, you can't really see much. If I'm honest, my stomach's looking a little bit bigger because we're in the afternoon now and I have eaten food. It tends to get a lot bigger in the evenings, and then when I get up in the morning, there's nothing there whatsoever, so it's a little bit weird. I have got a floated dress on, but as you can see, like, there's not really a lot there. I can feel it a bit more up here in the afternoons into evenings. I get a lot more bloated higher up, but yeah, this is what I am. So this is around 4 months, so I'm sure it's going to get a lot bigger very soon. That is my bump so far. My hips have got bigger, so yeah, I'm just finding clothes to fit me. So I'm finding like baggy dresses are a lot easier to style at the moment. But yeah, my stomach has kind of got, my bump's kind of got a lot bigger in the past week and a half, so I'm expecting it to, once I've hit my 4-month mark on Sunday, I'm expecting it to kind of like just have a growth spurt. I think it's going to be due one over the next couple of weeks. I think I'm going to look completely different then. But yeah, this is what it is at 4 months.